Thank you, Linda Ely, Linda L. How beautiful. And welcome to Awakening Wednesday. I'm so grateful that you're here today. And all the homies are in the house. Dermini, Sarah, we're doing the thing today. So let us open our hearts and let's start with the chant. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. Spirit divine lives in me, healing love, loving me. Open my heart, allow me to see the beauty and love that lives in me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. Spirit divine, loving me, healing love gently. Open my eyes, allow me to see the beauty and love surrounding me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. So right now we take this moment of holiness. We take the breath of the all that is, the Holy Spirit that is us. And we anchor this holiness in our spirit and our hearts, in our minds, in our eyes. And just in this moment right now, whatever you're doing, just stop. No matter where you are, just take this moment to anchor in the holy truth that all that there is presence, that all that there is God. And this divine holiness, this divine magnificence is breathing through each and every one of us. It is the absolute essence of all that is. Giving thanks for this, for the holy mind that is flowing through us, for the holy thoughts that are unfolding, for the divine holy energy and health that is our bodies and the bodies of all around this world. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. So sweet, so beautiful. Thank you, Linda. That was beautiful. So today, today we are venturing into the world of the vote. And I was like, wow, there's so many things that are flowing through me. So I'm going to pray right now that divine clarity speaks my words. And in picking a song for today, I had a lot of mixed emotions, but I heard Ray Charles once again sing America the Beautiful. And I was like, America is beautiful. And there's a blessing that is not only for America, but for this divine entire universe. And we have to remember the beauty within the chaos is unfolding, but the beauty is always there. Oh, beautiful, for heroes prove in liberating strife, who more than love our country love, and mercy more than life. America, oh, America, my God, that's so divine. Till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Now you may remember this. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesty, above the fruited plain. America, sweet America, my God shed grace on thee, and surround thy good in brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. America, I love you, America. God done shed his grace on thee. Oh, yes, surround our good in brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. America, thank you, Ray Charles, for that beautiful rendition, and Catherine Bates for some amazing lyrics. You know, the story goes that as a teacher, she was taking a little holiday and was just so in awe. They took a trip, so in awe of all of the beauty of America that she decided to write this poem. And she has never, not that she's here anymore, but she never charged anyone. She did copyright it, but millions of us have used it time and time again. So Kathy, Catherine, wherever you are, thank you for your vision and your wisdom. And I thought it was very appropriate to have the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty, which sits there in the middle of the ocean there. And I remember when I was in, I think it was France, I was in Europe, where they actually made the Statue of Liberty. And the energy that you receive when the first time I saw the Statue of Liberty, I was about 12 years old, and I thought, oh, wow, who is this green woman out in the middle of the ocean? And of course, I had studied her in school, but it was so different seeing this example of liberty and freedom in focus. And I tried to get my mom to climb all the stairs with me. She was like, no. I'm not going to do that. But yet, we forget that liberty is for all. So tonight, we're talking about, why do you vote? What is it about? How did we get here? So in a few moments, I'm going to bring in a couple of wonderful, magnificent ladies that will share this journey with me. I'll be right there with you. Let's bring in our panel. Let's welcome in Mary. How you doing, Mary? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Gino.
And Sarah, that's here in the
Hi.
studio. How you doing, Sarah?
Good, Gina. How are you?
I'm good. Just sweating. So I'm so blessed that both of you ladies have said yes to join me to have this really candid conversation about voting. about what it is, why do you vote. But before we get there, I want to go back and look at a little bit of the, not so much the history, but I guess the history, um, how we got to where we are now. Because we're in a state where people, and that by people I mean politicians, have manipulated the law in essence to take us back to kind of like Jim Crow days. And we have voter suppression, um, voter purging, poll closing. There was a major governor. We busy tonight. That's what the power of vote does. There was a major governor's run for the first time with an African American woman in Georgia, and Kemp, who's a good buddy of President Trump, and the things and tactics that he used, literally, it should have been against the law. He was not only running, but he was the supervisor over the voting polls. That seems to give you a little an advantage. And closed a lot of the polls, partook in this purging, like 1.2 million purged. Just unbelievable. So with all these things happening, people get discouraged. They get it, why even do it? Why even do it? Because it doesn't change anything. So Mary, I will put that to you first. You've done a lot of work with the homelessness and just looking at the life of people in the struggle. Why? Why would you vote, and why should people vote?
I can speak from a personal space, and that is our work is not done. We can't take for granted that everything that has been achieved by our ancestors will continue, because what you were speaking to is the eroding of freedom and rights of individuals, and we've seen that with the current administration, from women's rights, from equal pay, to oppression of the votes as you spoke to. So why should we vote? To me, if we don't vote, we lose our voice. And it's the only way that we can move things forward. And I love how you brought in the Statue of Liberty, because it really was for the purpose of freedom and justice for all to be attained. And unfortunately, it hasn't been attained. So we have to continuously move that forward. So we have to have those, and really, I've been an advocate as a social worker for many different groups of individuals and for myself. The voice is not only for my daughter, the voice is for my mother and my grandmother who didn't have necessarily the same rights that I do. Um, so it is the only way we can move things forward. I don't know else what to say regarding that. It's just I'm very passionate about it. The song that you sang moved me. I found myself being tearful, very tearful, because it's the only way we can really honor our ancestors, honor those who have died for us, and really it is through our voice and our vote that we take down injustice and we vote for justice. Um, Otherwise, we are passive in the process, and we give our power away to somebody else. So I share with my daughter all the time, we cannot take the fact that women now can vote as it for granted, that we now have domain over our body. That's going to be taken away, that we need to continue the fight, and it's a good fight. And when I think about science and mind and the philosophy, it is not closing our mind to what's happening in the world. It is actually being very awake and very aware, and then moving into a place of positivity and attracting that. So I so appreciate the honor to speak to this. Having grown up in rural America, one of 15 children in
Wow.
very poor circumstances, it was through the others advocating for people like me to help me through Pell Grants, to help me get in the military, to help me get pay my way through college. And it's really honoring all those that have gone before me. And I feel an obligation on a spiritual and just a very deep soulful level that I have an obligation to help those who are vulnerable and those who have not attained freedom and those who are being unjustly um, dealt with, i.e., those who are unsheltered. I mean, we could go into that in another conversation. Um, so that's why I say vote, because it empowers choice for others and for yourself. Do not give your power away, take your power back, and voting does that.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank
Gina.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Well, Sarah, um, what drives you? I know you have two kids. How important is it for them to know that your passion for voting, that your passion for change, how important is it for you to share that with them?
So for me, it's about like we live in a democracy, and a democracy only works as it's only as strong as its citizens. And so it's not just about voting; it's just being an informed citizen, like knowing how to read, knowing how to understand and question what we're being told by politicians, to think about different ideas and proposals, and to weigh them on their merit, to consider different candidates, and to research and to question below the surface, like what is it that's the person's not saying? What other aspects do I need to think about? It's important to be a proactive, conscious participant in our reality, and that's like from a science mind perspective, but that's from a democratic perspective. It only works if we participate. And what we have here, what we have now, is what we have created. So there's a silent majority in the country who hasn't been as involved. Maybe they're just more focused on themselves because they were trying to put food on the table and take care of their family. But it doesn't work like that. We're choosing to live in a democracy. Everyone has to participate. Everyone has to do their best to be informed, to read, to question, to be able to consider ideas on the merit of the idea rather than the emotional reaction that maybe the media or a politician is trying to spur from us. It's they're trying to hijack our ability to think and discern what truth is. So it's important. I know for my daughter, she actually participated in canvassing for campaigns. We did that this spring during primaries, and going door to door. And that's part of being a citizen too, like just really being part of the community. Politics is personal. It's not something that happens out there beyond me. It does happen here. Everything from the money that comes from my taxes to pay for the repairs on my street, or the police, or for all manner of government services. It all impacts us, whether it's water or whether it's the environment, whether it's our utilities or our internet, or the services we get, the health care we have, all of it. Politics is personal, so we can't ignore it. And I think, from like what Mary is saying, from a science of mind perspective, we do acknowledge, we believe that our thoughts, our consciousness is creative. And so we treat and we move our feet. It's not about just knowing it in a mental equivalent. It's about taking action and moving forward in that direction and creating it, and consciously being a participant with the universe in creating our good. And if it's not what we envision, then we keep working to move in that direction. So that's why I think it's important to vote, and that's what I talked with my children about. And that, we've always talked about politics from when they were young. I can remember them asking about what racism was, asking why Martin Luther King Jr. was important, asking about the different forces behind the Civil War, or behind the Holocaust, or behind just the different things that come up in our world and why. So we've had those conversations, and so it comes from a context of wanting to create the world that we want to live in, and that's a constant process. And so that's just the context of the conversations we've always had. So the natural byproduct of that is to act and to vote and to be informed and to do our best to make the best choices we can.
I really appreciate both of you, how you have shared that you have conversation with your family, that you're having this conversation out front. And part of that, when I find that, there are generations that have taken voting for granted, not appreciated the work that it took in order for us to vote. And even still in today's time, you look back as early as 2000, how they were changing laws and rights to block out people of color, to lower income. On the Indian reservations, they created a scenario where when you went to vote, if you didn't have an ID with an address on it, you could not vote. And on the majority of reservations, there are no addresses. Most Indians in a reservation have a P.O. box. So the systemic racism that's unfolding, you see it in Arizona with our Latina brothers and sisters getting rights to vote, kept changing and pushing the lines, these new tactics, which are really old tactics that are being used. So we do have to educate ourselves. We have to educate our family and friends. We have to let them to understand that the fight is not over. We've come some way, absolutely, but we're not there yet. And so when there's a wonderful movie out, or actually it's a documentary called All In, and it's based on the election of the Georgia governor's election. And of course it's Stacey Abrams' side, but there's a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of things that we have to be mindful of in this election. I say to you people, plan, plan, and plan again, because there will be fewer polling places. They had people standing in lines for 5 and 6 hours. That's just ridiculous. And then getting there and saying we're closed. All of these tactics, know your rights. If you're in line, you have the right to vote. If you're in line before it closes, you have the right to vote. But here's the thing, voting by mail, I think it's a wonderful new opportunity to vote by mail. And to vote early, to get your ballot, study on the propositions in your state and your county, because they all vary from one to the other, and be really knowledgeable about what's going on. I think another thing that's kind of gotten looked over is the 2020 census. Mm-hmm. You know, with the pandemic, with everything that's going on, and once again, not understanding the gravity of what the 2020 census does, what it does for your community, what it will do for your schools and churches and hospitals. There has been very little talk now about census. And I have to say, for one, you know, the last census I did not participate in. I used the excuse that I was traveling, but we can't use excuses anymore. We really have to make ourselves accountable. So Mary, I ask you, have you filled out your 2020 census?
Oh, yes, of course, I absolutely, yes.
And did you find, you know, it does take time to go through everything, to really be mindful. Were you prepared to be able to really answer honestly what you felt your community needed and what you needed?
I feel like I was, because of my area of profession and focus all my life has been sort of a community activist, and
Okay.
being military also, I integrate myself very quickly to the needs of that community. And professionally, that's how I've been taught. So, um, yeah, to answer your question, yes. And it made me think a little bit about what Sarah said too, and it really piggybacks exactly, dovetails exactly to what you're talking about, is that I think we often get comfortable. And we just let life be. We forget about sort of the injustices out there. And something that Sarah said too, and it's uncomfortable to hear, but we have created what's happened. And that's uncomfortable to hear, because what's happening currently is uncomfortable. If anybody's watched that debate last night, I had to turn it off because I couldn't stomach it anymore. I was so disappointed. Um, so we can continue to be negative, or we can be part of the change. And this is part of it. So again, thank you, Gina.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'll ask the question. In Florida, there is, Florida did an amazing thing by getting on the ballot that if you had served your time and you had paid your dues, that you should be able to vote. And so I'll ask you, Sarah, now that right was passed, but now they put a big whopping fee on that. So once again, it's another door that appears to be closed that, okay, yeah, we're going to give you the right, but if you can't pay, and I forget the amount, it's some ridiculous amount that they're asking. So they're doing a fundraiser. What do you feel about that? What is that when you hear things like that?
Well, it just reminds me that I think, from a spiritual perspective, we believe that there is an innate essence of good that's in everyone. And so that ties into the concepts of restorative justice and restorative practices so that everyone is capable of learning and growing and transforming themselves. So that goes for people who've made mistakes and who've been incarcerated. So they have the chance to redeem themselves. We have to have a chance to be able to integrate them. And so to create barriers to vote or to be a fully functioning member of being a citizen, that's actually harming us. We're excluding part of our democracy. We're shutting down, like you said, probably for political or power gains or economic, wanting to keep some people down so that other people can be privileged is wrong. And so we have to be aware and conscious of that. It's not right. But that's, again, just staying informed. And I think I hear you, Mary. I certainly had a difficult time sitting with the energy with the debate last night. And I think the politics it's hard. So it's like, how do we navigate that to stay informed without just being completely hijacked by the emotional reactivity, the toxic energy that's going through all the different things that were said or not said or talked over or whatever. I think that is a practice that we have to continue to work on. I think that's why mindfulness and meditation and some of the spiritual practices we have allow us a tool to break through the trauma of what we're seeing in front of us, but not to give up and not to shut down and turn away from it, because we want to create the world that we want. We want to be able to create the world that works for everyone. And so we have to find a way that we can move forward in like the highest truth from the deepest wisdom that we know, with letting ourselves penetrate whatever reactivity, whatever the noise is, or the sound bites, or the emotional things that get thrown out by media or by each side. We have to be able to find a way to stay true to the vision of what we want and to stay open and discerning, being able to access that frontal cortex, that wisdom and critical thinking and ability to see through the noise and to continue to make the best choices from the highest truth we can know in each moment. And so that's true and then also not only for ourselves and for our own environment, our own communities and our own whatever, propositions or things are up on the ballot for San Diego or, my town or my county, but also to be aware of what's going on in the rest of the country. So like you said, with Florida, there are small grassroots groups that get together and start to be active. And so a group that I've been active with did some text banking and campaigning to help voters in Florida know that they could vote. So it's also about being aware of, not only myself, but around me, in my county, my state, my country. And, this is something I hadn't considered before. I was more insular on looking at just my own surrounding area. But now I feel like I also feel a responsibility to the country. So I think back to those freedom riders who went from whatever state to go down to the South to make sure people had the right to vote and to work for that. So it's like, okay, if some people in another part of the country are struggling, I want to, that's still part of my country. That's still part of the world that I want that works for everyone. So I'll do what I need to do to help wherever, people get the right to vote. So if that means, I don't know if I'm going to travel to another state, but I can certainly participate in campaigns to help people get access to mail-in ballots, like you said, to be informed about what the what's on the ballot, the issues, and to know, what's a good choice to make, to be more informed and to get them informed about what their rights are and what's possible. So it is expanding the horizon, but I think it really goes back to starting. I know for me, I have to continue to keep coming back to some sort of centered moment because it is so hard. It's like it's designed to hijack our attention, and that's what gets, that gets more clicks. And so they do everything to hijack your attention and get you, emotionally hijacked so that you're just riveted on what that one person's saying, and it's not healthy for our democracy. So we have to keep focusing our practice to be mindful and to be able to cut through all that noise.
Well, it's funny that you ladies are talking about the debate. I was actually in the studio working, and I got a little thing on my iPad that said the debate was getting ready to start. But what I participated in last night was the Women's League. Let me see. The Women's League here in San Diego. They went over all of the propositions and everything that's on our ballot. They also have one tonight, a part 2. But it was, it was dry, but it was the type of information that you always need to know to prepare yourself to be able to intelligently know what you're voting on and not just vote haphazardly. And I remember at one point I turned on the debate, and there was the fearmonger pushing it and screaming, and there was somebody else trying to hold their ground and screaming back, and the moderator at one point said, "Gentlemen," using that word lightly. And and I start laughing at myself because I said, I know what one of the parties, what their motivation is. It is to trigger fear. It is to trigger the emotional aspect within you that either you're in love with it or you're in rage. And I laughed. I was like, I don't need to listen to this. Let me stay focused on things that can better educate me and that can help me. And so we are in this battle. And I agree with you 100%, Sarah, for recognizing what's happening in the rest of the world, because if they can get away with it in Ohio was a big state for purging. They purged over 400,000 people. And their rule is if you haven't voted in the last 6 years, and they send you a little postcard, and the postcard literally looks like a piece of trash. It looks like, some advertisement. So you wouldn't pay any attention to it. They will purge you off of the voter roll. But there were over 200,000 people there in Ohio that lived at their at the residence that they supposedly sent this little card to, never received it, and then they never sent anything that says, hey, we're getting ready to purge you off of the voters' poll. All of this manipulation that's being done, it reminds me that we're being manipulated at every point. And so we have to stay focused on what we believe is the highest and best for our life, for our family, for our world. And being in a space of spiritual community, treat and move your feet, it is such the time now that we must stand clear in our spiritual awareness, because I feel that this is a spiritual war, that awakening is what is being called forth. And so it doesn't mean that you're going to do what I'm doing or you're going to do what I'm doing, but if your spirit and soul is directed for the highest and best, there are solutions that are unfolding. In a few moments, we're going to bring in one of our other sweet babies behind the counter. Dormini is going to come in to share with us on her feelings about voting. So I'd like to ask you this, Mary, because a lot of times people say, it's just not worth it. Nothing will change. Nothing's ever going to change. What do you say to that person?
I say to that person, if that's what you put out there, that's what you get. Inaction creates no action, or creates the same.
Exactly.
You know, to be empowered, you have to move forward mentally, physically, and in action, and being informed. And both of you ladies said something I think is so powerful, and that was the debate was to trigger, to divide. And it's to stand still or remove and know the truth. That is exactly what they're doing.
Yes. I'm going to have
that's what I say to that.
I love that. Sarah, what do you say to that person?
Oh, okay. Same. That that nothing can ever stay in the universe. Everything's at motion, right? So if you think you're not doing something, it's being done to you. So you're either putting yourself out there and making a forward motion, being affirmative in your action, or something's being done to you, and you're at the effect of things. You're at the whim of the forces, and that's like Mary said. If that's how you're seeing life, then that is how you're going to experience life, and it's going to continue to come at you and be done to you. So that goes for voting. So if you have to consciously engage and act and move in an affirmative direction for what you want. Otherwise, it continues to outpicture with how you're seeing things. So if you're seeing that everything's always done to you, that nothing changes, that you have absolutely no power, and that you're a victim to life, then that's what happens.
I agree with you 100%, both of you ladies. I have said to people that nothing's going to change, nothing's going to change. And I look at them and I say, absolutely nothing's going to change for you. Because if our ancestors had that type of attitude, if they had that type of livingness, you wouldn't be here. And you definitely wouldn't be in a house with running water. You wouldn't be able to go to a job and get in the car and drive and go places where you want to go. So are we at the pinnacle? No. But have things changed? Absolutely. I'm going to say this phrase. I thought it was really fantastic. It is from Stacey Abrams, her mother. Stacey Abrams was running for governor, and it was a family of 6 of them, a mother and father. They were Methodist ministers, and they used to go and help out at soup kitchens and this, and the kids were like, why do we got to do that? We're poor. Why are we out here doing this? And her mom said this, and I thought, wow, having nothing is not an excuse for doing nothing. And I was just like, that's powerful. That is something that we need to own, that we think we don't have enough education, we don't have enough money, we don't know enough people, we don't have enough connections. All of the excuses that we come up with when we have resigned ourselves from life. Having nothing gives you no excuse not to do nothing. So right now we're going to bring Dormini in because I want Dormini to tell us, why do you vote, Dormini?
Mm-hmm. And then maybe we can do a shout out to those who are watching. They can chat and share with us why they vote and what their thoughts are,
I
too.
love it, Sarah. Thank you, because I forget it all the time. That's awesome.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to do a magic trade here. And Dormini's going to magically appear where I am.
You can work this out, huh? It's Dormini.
It's Dormini.
It's a magic trick, Gino. Hey, Mary. Nice to be with you also.
Nice to see you.
You know, I'm absolutely humbled to be here in the presence of such articulate women, Sarah and Mary and Gino, sharing about the power of voting and the meaning of voting and the importance of voting. And I've heard such incredible, depthful, thoughtful, sincere reasons for why to vote. And at first, when we were talking about having this evening and did I have anything to say, I thought, no, I don't have anything to say. I have some opinions about the Electoral College, for example. I have opinions about, these obstacles in the way of my vote counting. And then over this last week, I realized that by believing those thoughts, by believing that there's something that's going to prevent my vote from being counted, something that's going to prevent my voice from being heard, and believing that hype, that I'm self-censoring. I'm self-censoring, and that as I self-censor, I'm in essence contributing to the same energy that is seeking to censor and silence and oppress any other voice. And so I realized that, as within, so it is without. And so if my inner experience, my inner reality is a reflection of what I perceive outside of me, then if I'm experiencing this silencing within, this censoring within, then of course that's what I'm going to see outside of me. And so it is my duty to first go within and to say, I am at cause. I am not an effect of what's happening out there. I am at cause.
Yes.
And I am speaking. I am voting. I am counting. I am standing up and being a part of this community that I have been born into, that I am a part of. And it reminded me of a story I once heard about, like, let's say you wanted to plant a garden. You wanted to have a, wonderful lawn in front of your house. And you thought about, okay, I'm going to go, I got to prepare the soil and buy the seeds and all this. And it's going to take a long time. And gosh, what if after I put the seeds out there, what if a whole bunch of birds come in and start eating all the seeds? And maybe the neighborhood kids, they'll come through and they'll think it's like a new skate park and they'll start skateboarding all over it. And, anything could happen.
Right.
And that's true. Anything could happen. But if I do not prepare that soil and put down those seeds of grass, I will never have a lawn in front of my home. And so I can either focus on all of the what ifs, all of the maybes, all of the perhaps, all of the fear that is being generated, or I can, as these incredible women have stated, be at cause and be a presence, as Gandhi said, be the change that I want to see, that I want to make manifest in the world. And so if I stand for freedom of expression, then I must allow myself to express, and I can do that by voting.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. So just really beautiful. I'm going to check in with Sarah. Do we have any chats? I think Sarah's checking to see if we have any chats. And while that is happening, Mary, I want to thank you I can't believe how quickly this time has zoomed by us. I want to thank you for coming on. I really hope you come back and share with us all of the amazing work that you have done and that you are doing in the homeless community. Your work that you've done. And once again, congratulations on your PhD.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I feel honored to be asked, and just want to give Darmini such compliments and such powerful, because it really is, you just said it, the cause. We want to be the cause, not in the wind and the effect.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Gino.
I always appreciate this time. And so I want to say to everyone out there, voting is essential. It is your duty to be aware, to embrace your family and friends with knowledge, and be prepared. Don't let this election knock you off your feet. Be prepared. You have until October the 19th to make sure that you're registered. You can register by mail. I know there's starting rumors that that won't work, and here at Universal Spirit Center, we're actually even stepping up the envelope, that we are going to go out to people that want us to. We will pick up your ballots, and we will take them directly to the registrar's office so that it will help alleviate some of the pressure from our post office that are doing an amazing job, that they're caught in the middle of this battle. So know that you are a part, either you are a part of what's pushing us forward, or you are a part of what's keeping us stagnated. Stand up for your rights. Find out what criteria you need so that you can vote. We need you. We need our family, our friends. We need everyone to show up and to vote. So I want to thank you again, Mary. Thank you, Darmini. Thank you, Sarah. This was so awesome. This is our conscious giving time that we are getting ready for now. It is this divine time of knowing that Universal Spirit Center is a thriving community. And we are a community that believes in a global expression. We know that this universe, this call right now, it's a big call, but we are mighty, mighty people. We are mighty prayer warriors, walking with divine faith and walking in the knowingness that we can change things. Absolutely. So we appreciate all of your donations. You can donate on PayPal. You can also, of course, mail in your donation. If you, like myself, I just have it automatically taken out of my check, out of my bank every every week. We also have the Pass the Basket, which you can just text GIVE to. It's an easy setup. You'll see that on our webpage as well. Because we are blessed. We are blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed. All right. When I wake up in the morning, or lay my head to rest, I am blessed. I am blessed. Come on, Mary, join on in. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning, or lay my head to rest, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. Thank you so much.
Gino, I'm going to go get back on the other side of
All
production.
right.
Okay, this has been a great time.
Thank you for joining us, Darmini. So I want to make sure that everyone knows a great place and to check out, to know what's going on universalspiritcenter.org. You go to our webpage and go to Racial Equality Project and hit voter page. We have an enormous amount of information, how you can track your ballot to vote, how you can check to register that you are registered to vote, how you can sign up for us to come socially distancing and social distancing so that we can pick up your ballot. So go to universalspiritcenter.org. Click on Racial Equality Project. When you see voter page, click on the voter page and go there. And if you have any concerns on the day of your vote, you can always call 866-OUR-VOTE. 866-OUR-VOTE. They will be live and ready, but plan early. Plan to vote before then. You'll see on our webpage that the last week of October, we will be picking up ballots from all over San Diego County. Not Southern California, San Diego County. And we will take them daily to the registrar's office. You can follow up with "Where's my ballot?" It's an easy little form, 1, 2, 3 process to fill out so that they can text you and email you and let you know where your ballot is in the process. This is a new time and a new day. So we have to approach this from today, not from yesterday. I know going to the polls was part of the joy. I went with my mom as a kid, but things have changed and they are changing. The most important thing is that you vote. If you say nothing is ever going to change and you do nothing, you are the change that's not happening. I thank you all again. I'll see you next week on Kitchen Conversations. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.